And oh my goodness, I'm just figuring this out.
Nerd Lodge.
Hi, welcome to Nerd Lodge. I'm John, this is Priscilla and Bethany, and we're going to go over the last 3 episodes of Doctor Who for this season. Bethany wanted me to wear my brand new hat, so I've got it on. I hope you all like it. We're going to do a review of the last 3 episodes of Doctor Who. And first we're going to start out with some summaries of the last 3 episodes, and each one of us will take one of the episodes. And so we're going to start with Priscilla.
Alert! Alert! Spoilers are approaching! Spoilers are approaching! The Doctor and companions visit the day that Mary Shelley wrote Frankenstein. Strange things are afoot as the crew hangs around waiting for the authors to start writing. Things start moving on their own, parts of a skeleton move on their own and attack our friends, and the house becomes untraversable. People begin walking in loops and being unable to leave a room and go to another one. The Doctor discovers that there is a perception filter on the house which is causing them to see things that aren't there, thus making them believe they are stuck in their part of the house. Then, the lone Cyberman arrives and is looking for the Guardian. We discover that Percy Shelley is the Guardian and is guarding the Cyberium from the lone Cyberman, which is an AI with all future knowledge of the Cybermen, including data, strategy, and decision-making. It inhabits a living host by fusing to their brain. The Doctor takes possession of the Cyberium, but ultimately relinquishes it to the lone Cyberman. With this, the Cyberman leaves and all is well in 1816.
Now we're going to do the next episode. We open with Pat finding baby Brendan and raising him as Pat and Meg's adopted son. Then, we jump to the time coordinates that Percy Shelley received from the Cyberium to the last human settlement this side of the universe in the immediate aftermath of the Cyber Wars. After failing to repel an attack by the last 3 Cybermen, some of the humans with Graham and Yaz escape by their craft, while the Doctor, Ryan, and another human steal one of the Cybermen ships and escape in that. We jump back to Brendan joining the Irish police, the Garda Síochána, which, by the way, means Guardians of the Peace. While trying to apprehend a thief, Brendan gets shot and falls down a cliffside to a stony beach below, seemingly to his death. However, he jolts awake and is miraculously unharmed. Back to the relative present, Graham and Yaz's group end up on a Cyberman war carrier with thousands of dormant Cybermen in storage, while the Doctor's group make it to the last hope of humanity, Koh-Sharmus. The last Cybermen also arrive on the Cyberman ship, and begin converting the existing Cybermen to the lone Cyberman's vision of the ideal Cyberman. Back on Koh-Sharmus's planet, we see the boundary, which will transport humans out of the galaxy to where the Cybermen cannot follow, and thus to safety. As the Doctor is looking into the boundary, she sees Gallifrey in ruins, and suddenly, from the other side of the boundary, appears the Master.
Episode 10. The Master takes the Doctor to the ruins of Gallifrey and explains that he killed all the Time Lords. He invites the lone Cyberman to Gallifrey, which he accepts after he transports Cybermen to the planet to kill the remaining humans. Graham, Yaz, and their group escape to the planet using Cybermen suits and help the humans defeat the Cybermen. The Master traps the Doctor in a paralyzation field and forces her into the Time Lord Matrix.
Okay.
In the Matrix, the Master reveals that the Time Lord history is not what was taught them, and that regeneration came to the Time Lords through an alien child found by a Gallifreyan explorer, Tecteun, who spliced the child's DNA into herself to be able to regenerate. Also, we learn that the Doctor is the same child that was found by Tecteun. Meanwhile, the Master discusses the lone Cyberman's plans and learns that he wants to remove the Cyberman's organic components and turn them into robots. The Master kills the lone Cyberman with a shrink ray and joins with the Cyberium in order to create a new race of Cybermen with cyber armor fused with Time Lord organics called Cybermasters, thus making a regenerative organic component that will render the Cybermaster invincible. The humans from Koh-Sharmus planet come through the boundary and find the Doctor, who has escaped the Matrix. Then they blow up the cybership after the Doctor finds the shrunken lone Cyberman. The Doctor puts the humans on a TARDIS and sends them to Earth. She takes the lone Cyberman, who has a death particle in his chest which will destroy all organic material on the planet, and leaves to kill the Master. the Cybermasters, and herself in order to save the universe from the terrible plans of the Master. She cannot follow through, but Coach Aramis comes around the corner and sets off the death particle while the Doctor escapes to find her TARDIS. The episode ends with the Doctor being arrested by the Jejune with a lifetime sentence, then being transmitted to a prison cell.
Very good. Okay, so what did you all think? Episode 8, what did you all think? So, Frankenstein, the Shelleys, Lord Byron, the butler, he was the best.
Yes.
He was my favorite.
Awesome.
Yes. He looked
Like,
so...
bored.
No,
Bored, annoyed.
Annoyed.
Yeah, annoyed.
Yeah.
And
He looked
like,
annoyed and
I
bored.
will
at
go
the same
and
time.
tell them to go away,
Yeah.
master. No, I will tell them myself.
He's
Yeah.
playing the piano. Why do I have to play this? I
Yes.
don't want to play this.
Yeah, he was my
Yeah.
he was my favorite.
Yeah.
So the history of that episode is actually pretty close to accurate. I wanted to read off of this. Mary and Percy did not get married until later that year, after Percy's then wife committed suicide.
Do you know why she committed suicide?
Well, probably because Percy and Mary were having an affair, but that's just a guess.
It didn't say.
No, I didn't see anything that far. So Byron never divorced his wife, but did keep company with Mary's stepsister, Claire Claremont, as well as Byron's half-sister, Augusta Lee, whose fourth child may have been Byron's, which is disturbing on so many levels.
Half sister?
Yeah, exactly. You don't know what a half-sister is?
Yeah.
Same. One parent's the same.
One parent's the same. That is quite
That is
disturbing.
disturbing?
Yeah, so I always find it interesting when when shows, take stories from the past and kind of reimagine the cause of the historical event, or take a historical event that we know as history and they changed something in the past that made our history the way it is. So something happened differently originally in the past, and then someone goes back and travels to the past and changes something, and so now our history reflects what happened when they changed it. I found that I always like stories like that, and I wish they would do more of like the second part that I was talking about. The only one that I know of is Quantum Leap. Sam Beckett is his name. He goes back in time.
There's a Doctor Who, I remember, with Vesuvius and Pompeii.
Well, but that was more kind of a reimagination of why the volcano exploded.
But
Not
it wouldn't have exploded if they hadn't been there.
true, but
The
that's
world
not
just
the
would have
point.
destroyed it.
The world
would've
just would have ended. Very different.
Slightly different history there. Yeah.
Yeah, world ending. That's only slightly different.
Yes. Okay. So what else about episode 8 there? So we've got What bothers me about that episode is that so they never the writing of Frankenstein never happened. I mean, it was disrupted, and so it's like, okay, is it ever going to happen now? They didn't ever talk about that. I guess the one workaround that they have was that when they introduced that episode, it said 1816, and it might have even given a month, but it didn't give a date, and we know the date, right?
Maybe.
That event took place. So I mean, that's kind of their out. That they didn't
So
mention.
it could have happened like a few days before, because TARDIS is horrible at getting the date right.
Well, it could have been that was like what I've been talking about, like changing the past, and it becomes our past. So maybe it was going to happen on that date, and so the Doctor go visit that date, and all these events take place, and then they do it some other time later that year, like the next weekend or something, right? They actually have the party because they're dropping all those hints about Frankenstein, right? They mention zombies. They mention the Doctor's description of what a Cyberman is very Frankenstein-esque.
Just says the summer of 1816.
Okay,
Wow.
so well, there you go.
I'm sure.
That's specific.
Well, and that, so that bothers me, is that we've changed history, right? Frankenstein never gets written because that was when the idea was supposed to get started, but then we've just kind of glossed over that.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Oh well, no Frankenstein.
Yeah. Okay.
Poof.
Poof.
What were
So-
some of your favorite like funny moments in the episode?
At the end, when Miss Claremont is talking to Byron, and then she walks away, and Polidori is going to say something, but then he's like, her words were enough. And just
Yeah.
kind of smiles and walks away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that part. I've seen some people griping about, I don't know, misogynistic, whatever, not liking all the political stuff. But I like that they had the woman dropping Lord Byron. I mean, women don't need to be in a relationship with a guy like that, and so I think it's good that they showed that. It's appropriate.
He used her as a human shield.
Yes.
Yeah, he was a jerk. Women don't need to be dating
cowering
jerks.
behind her,
Right. So.
where this monster, as in the sleeping person, I can't remember who's who.
What's
Can't ever tell who's who.
really
The person
on
who's
your notes?
sleepwalking.
Okay, so she's asking about the really on my notes. And she says, the doctor says, Shelley's thoughts and words, this is Percy's Shelley, his thoughts and words influenced thousands for centuries. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
I can't remember one thing that I've read by Shelley or was made to read in school.
I mean, Frankenstein is much more famous.
Yeah.
Exactly, and that's not Percy Shelley, so...
And I have
you know.
somewhere in here, not all the time, referencing the Save the Poet, Save the Universe, like, not all the time.
Oh, well, I think that was more just, what do I do? Do I save the poet or do I save the universe? I think that was just a choice that she was talking about.
No, I'm pretty sure she meant if we save the poet, then we also save the universe.
I don't think that's what she was talking about.
That's how I interpreted it.
Okay, well, you're wrong. I mean,
I thought you're supposed to be... thought this is supposed to be constructive criticism here.
I am. I'm constructively criticizing your incorrectness.
Not really.
I think
Bethany,
Okay.
do you have any comments here?
my favorite moment after they smashed the spider hand thing
And
into dust, and she licks it,
Into
and the
dust.
person behind her goes, "She licked it!" This voice of disgust, and the doctor doesn't notice.
The Valet Fletcher, he had good aim with
Yeah,
that.
he has good aim
Yeah,
with that,
that's
with
awesome.
that fan.
Like, good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, she bats it away from herself, and he just whacks
Good
it.
job.
Okay, one thing that really bothered me is, so we've got Captain Jack appeared in a previous episode.
It's just good to see him.
Yeah.
It was good to see him, and yet his
He
warning
never comes back.
his appearance is ultimately worthless because
Yep.
the doctor just disregards his warning
Yep.
and gives the lone Cyberman what he wanted anyway. I'm like, that is kind of, what did I say? It's a shame that he was treated that way by the writer. That Captain Jack was, that just annoyed me. That really bothered me. It's like, hey, it's Captain Jack, that's good, and it's like just, too bad. Your appearance, all that work that you did through to get this message to the doctor, worthless.
Yep.
Wouldn't it have been possibly easier to just keep the Cyberium and use it against the Cyberman? Like, he's one Cyberman, man. There's no one else on that ship. How hard would it be to go onto the ship and just, like, disable it?
Well, he was about to destroy the whole, well, maybe not destroy the whole planet, but, tear it up quite a bit.
Time machine.
You know the rules. You can't
You know
cross
the
your
rules.
can't cross your own timeline.
How many... I bet she's done that a lot while she's been online, then. So as long as she doesn't know, she's
You know
up
what?
on that ship.
You know what?
Sure, she would know the moment she went on that ship.
You know what? With all of these previous, I'm kind of jumping the gun here, but with all of these previous regenerations that the Doctor has,
How has the doctor not crossed her
she
timeline
probably has
more?
crossed her timeline a bunch.
Uh-huh. How
You
come
know?
she only remembers Ruth then?
Yeah, exactly. Well, why would she remember Ruth at all?
Yeah.
Apparently, you're not supposed
When-
to remember that stuff.
When
but
timelines cross, you
She's
never remember because the
been in-
timelines don't sync up.
She's been in the same place at the same time before, I'm sure. Just not the exact same place. Just not in view. And as
Yeah.
long as they can't see each other and don't know.
and don't interact and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay. So the Cyberium has this choice between the perfect vessel, as the Cyberman calls himself later, and the worst enemy of all Cybermen. So it chooses the Doctor.
Okay, see, yeah, that's a good point.
okay, I have something
There's
on
an
this
answer to
somewhere.
that in the following episodes. But yeah, that was one of my questions. It's like, why is the Cyberium, which is cyber technology, running from the lone Cyberman, right?
Yeah.
And why does it choose the Doctor instead of the Cyberman? So yeah, those are questions that are brought up, and I had those same questions, and those are answered in following episodes. If
I have
I
some.
missed
and we'll
it.
get to that. Yeah, I had to watch it.
Multiple times.
I had to watch it
Here it
that
is.
second time or whatever.
Maybe the Cyberium didn't go to Asher because of how incomplete and non-Cyberman he was.
Ashid.
Ashad, yeah.
Ashad.
I wrote
Asher,
Asher because that's
I
what
know.
I heard. The Doctor, on the other hand, has lots of information and a long life.
No, the answer is revealed later, and that's close. That's close. But well, let's move on before we,
Get lost in this episode.
everybody's bored to death.
Yeah.
So episode 9, it starts out with the Cyberman saying, "That which is dead can live again in the hands of a believer." So okay, we've got Brendan, and we find out later, which we don't know this yet. Brendan is the Doctor in some sort of, it's got to be some sort of simulation. We learn later in episode 10 that it was actually a series of tests that they were putting the Doctor through. But we don't know this in episode 9.
At first, I thought when she says she's gonna call the Doctor, and then the Doctor shows up, I thought that the town that we were seeing was the town the Doctor was going to.
Okay. For
mean-
the Time War?
Yeah.
Or the Cyber War?
Yeah, I mean, even though it looked really peaceful.
Well, yeah, and
Yeah,
that was
the Mount
definitely
War.
1910s, 19 teens.
I know,
Or-
but still.
Yeah.
No, I mean. Oh, why did the Doctor go to the aftermath of the Cyber War? Why didn't she go to the beginning and possibly try
Well,
to stop it?
Maybe okay because she was
Maybe
worried
it's a
about
big point.
she was worried about the lone Cyberman, not necessarily the Cyber Wars. The lone Cyberman is separate from the Cyber Wars, because if you when they went on that Cyber War carrier, those were all
They all look different.
Young.
those were all
Yeah.
cyber
Old.
like real traditional Cybermen.
Yeah.
They weren't these lone Cybermen, Cybermen.
Yes.
So, and I guess maybe the Cyber Wars are a fixed point. She can't deal with that. She was dealing with the lone Cyberman, not, the Cyber Wars. The Cyber drones, that really bothered me. I mean,
They
just-
seemed useless.
Yeah,
They
we
just add
They had
new
no
stuff.
propulsion. They had no guns.
The Cyber drones, they shot out of their eyes.
That's how they shot. I thought it came out of their mouth. Well, there's no visible guns.
Either way,
It's
that's just
just
a dumb
dumb.
concept. Yeah, it is. It's a dumb
they
concept.
probably could have done it better if they looked better. They're just flying Cyberman heads. I mean,
Yeah,
and we already have
flying
Cyber
heads.
Mats and Cyber Mites, which probably could have been done better.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
just
Exactly.
released
I
those
looked-
into the
I
town.
looked it up, and
whatever.
Cyber Mites can actually turn people into Cybermen, which, if you're trying to rebuild, that's what you want to do.
Well, I don't think that these lone Cyberman was trying to rebuild. He was trying to just wipe out humanity.
Yeah.
So,
Still.
I'm sure the
Cyber
I'm-
Mats can kill
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm
people,
sure
too.
the Cybermats can do that too. They
They can. I
they've
looked
done it
them up.
with
I looked them
the
up.
good, the 11th Doctor, right?
Yeah.
They in the shopping mall
Yeah.
killed those
and-
people.
Oh, one thing that has to do with that episode with the shopping mall and the lone Cyberman was in that episode we saw how them putting a suit on someone, and the seam was straight down the face.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it looks like the lone Cyberman got
Yeah, his looks like it's been
destroyed.
torn off or something.
It's just really. So we see how the masks go on. Putting the mask on like that would be stupid. Just having a little chunk here. That
Yeah,
you have
I
to
mean
line
clearly, yeah.
I mean,
Mm.
some doors are like that, which is some like sci-fi doors are like that. And it's weird.
up. Yeah, they're like doors that do that. And
Why? Okay, why didn't the Doctor use the screwdriver on the cyber drones?
I don't
They're
know.
electronic, aren't they?
I'm pretty sure.
Also,
Don't they work on electronics?
why didn't the fences against the Cybermen
Yeah, why
work
didn't
on
they
those cyber
drawings?
drones?
Well, cyber drones were not.
The force field should have worked,
Yeah.
at least.
You would think. Yeah, exactly. It's pointless.
And the gold, possibly.
Might have. And why did they not do anything with cleaning fluid?
I
mean, surely
do like.
that's-
Okay.
Everyone that I
as-
know.
yeah.
Cybermen are
Except
allergic
cleaning
to
fluid.
As much as I'm not a fan of Chris Chibnall, I do appreciate that he does pull stuff from the classics and puts that in there. That is good. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, cleaning fluid. That would have been
It's
good.
probably easier to.
Come here, Max.
Come on, Max. Come here. Hi, Max. Good boy.
We got Max. He's not in frame.
There he is.
That's our dog, Max.
We have another one. She's scared of everything.
He
Won't come in here.
He likes nerd stuff too, don't you? Don't you? Oh, thank you.
Can I hold him?
So
Oh boy.
let's see. Run away.
Hi, Max. I'm sorry. You shouldn't have come in here. You're probably never
Okay.
gonna come in here again.
Here's one of the things that bothers me. So the two humans are being tracked by the lone Cyberman. He's right, and he's like, "I know you're in here, right? You remember that part?"
Yeah.
And so the older guy, he's like, "Okay." Oh no. The kid starts talking, starts whispering. I don't remember what he says. And the older guy, shh, right?
And
that-
then talks louder than him.
The shushing sound
Is loud.
is actually
Very
one
loud.
of the loudest quiet sounds that a person can make,
Yes.
right? And that bothers me. That's in everywhere, everything. When you got someone trying to be quiet and
Shush.
yeah,
And then
it's like
super loud.
it's like that travels really far. And the writers, please, start using something else. You
What
know,
else should they use then?
hand signals, something.
Yeah.
Yeah, something. Make it more realistic.
that.
That just really bothers me.
Yeah.
Oh, also I thought they needed a day to fix it because
Yeah.
the ship
She's
it
like,
takes
Yeah.
off,
Day-
but they
we
needed a day to fix it.
Well, it does. I mean,
It
in
does
all
not work
honesty,
very well, but-
yeah. In all fairness, it does blow up halfway through their journey.
Yeah.
It's a gentle blow up.
Yeah.
it
It was
was,
a gentle
it was
blow
a
up.
very gentle explosion. Oh, we're still alive.
Yeah. I like how they're like turning off the air conditioning and he's giving instructions on what to do with no atmospheric pressure, and they look at him like, "What? How do you know this?"
It's not our first time in deep space. Yeah.
And yeah, I like
what
that.
was the first time?
The
They teleport.
first was it was the second episode.
Second episode, they teleported into space by accident.
Yeah, after they've killed Tim Shaw.
Yeah. Tim Shaw
Not killed. They took care of Tim Shaw, and
sent
so
him
she-
somewhere else
she connects the battery or whatever, and they transports them all
with a microwave.
into outer space. Right. Yeah.
Ding.
So they say
Hi.
she says that they can't make it to the TARDIS. Why can't they make it to the? There's only three Cybermen, which is funny. There's 3 Cybermen on 2 spaceships.
Yeah. That is funny.
We don't know how far away the TARDIS was. I mean,
Yeah, it could have been a mile off.
they
I
were
guess that's
walking
true.
for quite a while. Man,
He
Max.
carried all that stuff. Let him
Max,
go.
calm
Let
down.
him go.
Calm down, Max. You kicked
Grief.
this over, man.
kicking that over.
Welcome to our family.
Yep.
So yeah,
Bring
well
the
I don't
other one
know.
in here.
And, okay, so you can't make it to the TARDIS. You can steal a ship. Can't you fly that ship to the TARDIS?
Yeah, that's a good question.
We were being shot at. They would have been easily tracked.
Shot at? Whatever.
By
Well, they were
Cybermen.
being tracked.
If
I
it
like
was a
it when
mile
the-
away, then
I like it when the doctor's like doing these thing, and the kid comes over and he does it in a couple seconds. She's like, that's my job.
Okay, and then we went back to Brendan. So I mean, I'd have some questions. Does he know he's a Time Lord at this point, or does he believe he's a human? And it ultimately, I guess we learned that all of that we're seeing is images that Tecteun put in the Matrix to kind of lead people away from those. Okay, these are boring stories, so we're not gonna. We won't look at
It's
these real
boring
deeply.
until he falls off a cliff.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so what's that? You know that, okay,
Yeah.
I
why
wonder,
didn't-
I wonder if that's kind of Tecteun's not understanding, but recollection of what happened, right? Because the child, the timeless child, fell off a cliff, died and regenerated. And you've got Brendan falling off the cliff and dying and regenerating. So that must be kind of the story. And oh my goodness,
And
I'm
you
just
come right
figuring
back
this
in.
out. Brendan was found
As a child.
Yeah, by Pat and Meg, right?
Yeah.
And the timeless child was found by Tecteun. So that is the story of the Doctor. That Brendan's story is the story of the Doctor.
Think they reveal this, Daddy?
Yeah.
Say that again?
The Master reveals this.
Yeah.
Yeah, he reveals it, but I didn't put it together that was the Doctor's story.
We did.
From birth,
Max?
from foundling.
Max!
That's Tecteun's memories.
Get away from the camera. Here.
Shush, leave him alone. He's fine.
Oh, Max, you're a silly dog.
We're busy. Leave him alone.
He's cute and come in here. Again.
Yeah, so that is the Doctor's story from the time that Tecteun found her, right?
Well, okay,
falls off
but-
the
so
cliff,
those
regenerates.
But I have one problem with that. Because
Then
the timeless child has regenerated a few times before they sit in an interview with her parent for the thing. Brendan, on the other hand, sits in the interview before he falls off the cliff and regenerates. So those things are switched and out of order.
Okay, well, still, I think that that might be part of the perception filter or whatever that Tecteun put on the in the
So,
Matrix.
we've got these false memories that are, and then we also have the actual events in the thing. So if Brendan's story was Tecteun's memories, then whose memories would be the other one?
What other one?
The actual events in the Matrix.
Well, that must be the Master kind of
Constructing it?
filtering away the filter. Getting past the filter that
Okay.
Tecteun put on there. So now we get to the last Cyberman and why the Siberium didn't want him. Okay, it says at 2220, the lone Cyberman said he was a willing recruit, but he was denied. So he tried to go join the Cybermen, and during the conversion process, I assume, he was rejected. And that is why
He's half built.
it's part of why he's half built. It's also why he didn't have the emotion inhibitor chip. Remember when the Doctor first saw him in episode 8? It's like you're
upset.
incomplete,
Yeah.
Yeah, emotion.
Cyberman screaming in anger.
Yeah.
Oh,
That
I
was chilling.
have something
Goosebumps.
which might.
You mean
when
on the
he
ship?
No, when he got teleported out in episode 9, sorry. He got teleported out of the room and he...
You mean episode
screams
8?
and angry.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was...
Also, I
Yeah.
noticed this. It might or might not be right, but when he was acting more human, kind of, his voice seemed less robotic, and when he was acting more Cyberman-like, his voice seemed more robotic.
I'm sure that was on purpose.
I'm sure it was.
So anyway, the last lone Cyberman is a reject. He's a reject by the Siberium, right? So when the humans, when Ko Sharmus sends the Siberium back in time, and the lone Cyberman comes looking for it, it doesn't want to be found by him because he's a reject, right?
Yeah,
we
but
rejected
still.
him. We don't want him.
Still, I'll go to my worst enemy instead.
Well, at least it knows that the worst enemy can protect it from the lone Cyberman.
Even if she kind of fails at that.
Yeah, slightly. Okay, so the bay door, or the on the ship. What is that? Escape pod? What? It's not an escape pod. What
It was
is
a
that?
gravity thingy.
Whatever it was the exact same size
Yeah,
as
it
the bay
was.
door.
But
And the bay door-
bounced. Like it went beep, 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 and
Yeah.
then went in.
Yeah.
I went,
As it-
really? You hit
it's
it!
just
You bounced on it!
to me that
No.
seems like such bad writing.
Also, hey, probably just bad visuals. Also, it's
Right.
spinning.
Yeah,
With-
it's spinning,
even though the
spinning,
thrusters were
spinning.
just on one side.
the thrusters
and the
going-
thrusters weren't even on the side
Yeah,
that it
like-
entered in.
The thrusters are going
This
up like
hurts my
this, so it
science
shoots like
brain.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
This hurts my science brain.
Yes, this is hurting our science.
Yes, that really bothered me. Right,
Oh.
so it's the exact same size as the door. It manages to hit the door that's open, luckily. It goes in the door that's open, and they jump out and they can breathe. Does anybody else notice a problem with
Yeah.
this?
I'm going,
There's
wait,
normal-
this is a
The
cyber...
door
I'm going, wait,
is
normal,
open.
wait.
Force fields on those doors.
Oh, we're
least
in
in
Star
Star-
Wars now?
Well, I'm sure it's a similar idea.
And,
I mean,
and Star Trek?
well, if we're talking about Star Wars and Star Trek, like when those
If there's
cyber
a-
ships came onto the or showed up, it looked like hyperspace. And
Yeah, it looked like they're
I was
making a
just-
landing approach at light speed, pretty much. And then they go, phew, and make a
was
turn.
just
And
kinda-
I'm going,
I was just kind of wondering what type of like intergalactic travel mode they have, since I bet most people.
They talked about hyperspace, I think, in that episode. Or
What-
hyperdrive or something.
Because I used to hot walk drives for fun.
So,
And I think they said that with whatever, we'll get there before them.
yeah, with hyperdrive.
That
When
make
the
them look
when the
surprised
humans
or
when the
scared.
humans are on the bridge of the cyber war carrier, there are no alarms going off.
Apparently, it's still at full power too.
yeah, they
But
go in,
when the
they turn
cyber-
on the systems.
But
Oh, good thing
when-
the sleeper chambers stayed asleep.
Yeah, exactly.
Seriously?
But when the cyber, well, I mean, it's a war carrier. They wouldn't wake up until they got to wherever they needed to go. So, but
Okay.
when the Cybermen came and landed on the cyber war carrier, the alarm started going off in the
Well, maybe
bridge.
the alarms weren't set.
I just
And then when they got there, they set the alarm.
maybe
alarm-
they reprogrammed it. I guess when they were
Nothing
on
was
the bridge.
on yet. Everything turned
Yeah.
on for them. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when they
It's true.
landed, when they got into the bay, he said, "Oh, it's all turning on for us."
yeah,
But still, why?
They-
Why
they-
should
they're
these are
already-
the enemies?
they're already past the alarms.
Oh, okay. Did
Oh.
you say so?
Also, I saw this in a different review, but when Graham and the lady are talking, and she like calls him strange.
Uh-huh.
He says, "Excuse me, I'm the most normal bloke you'll ever meet." He like almost says doctor.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Interesting. What struck me as odd is you've got people who can hotwire cyber ships, right? They can, I guess, reprogram the alarms so that they don't, so that humans don't set off the alarms, but Cybermen do. Right? So the last three Cybermen are busy upgrading all the other
Seems like
Normal.
it's gonna take forever.
normal Cybermen. What do the humans do? We know they can fly the ship. We know they can. There's probably some sort of self-destruct mechanism on these ships, right? One would think.
Yeah.
Or at least easily made. It's
We know
probably got a power source.
there's another ship on board because the last three Cybermen came aboard on that ship.
Good
I see what you're
point.
going at.
I see what you're getting at now.
Exactly. They're busy. Let's self-destruct or set the self-destruct, or at the very least, let's set
Get
a
off
course.
that ship.
Let's set a course toward the star.
Yeah.
Right?
Let's set a course toward that star over there while we leave.
Yeah, it's sneak around these three Cybermen.
How
The Cybermen
long do-
are screaming. The Cybermen that they're converting are screaming. So surely they won't hear
How
us
long
sneaking
do you
around.
think it took? Because they had to convert all the Cybermen that woke up and was walking. How long were they just sitting there?
while.
Exactly. It's bad writing. And they're like, "We're stuck." No, you're not.
No, you're not. You find a vent in a few
I mean,
seconds.
there was a time. So Yaz, I think it was Yaz. She's like, "So what do we do?" I'm like, "I'll tell you what you do. I know exactly what you do. Come on, this
Yeah.
is simple." Okay, so when the boundary opens for the doctor, Ko Sharmas says, "It's never looked like that before."
And he says it changes location every time.
Right. Okay.
I noticed that.
So the master has to be in control of
Whatever it is.
this boundary. in order
least
to.
read
He
that.
calls it an anomalous fluke or something.
Yes, he does. But yet he has to be in control of it. Otherwise, how does he make sure
It stays
that
on
it comes
Gallifrey.
to Gallifrey?
How does he come through the other side? I thought it wasn't possible to go through.
Yeah.
Back through.
I don't know if it wasn't possible to go back through.
It didn't look like it was possible. I mean, there was no
when
boundary
they,
portal.
yeah, exactly.
And they're telling them, you can go back if you want.
That's true. They did. Yeah, you don't have to come at all.
Too late now.
Yeah, I guess you could walk through. But anyway, so yeah, so it's random places, according to why I understand it. It's random places, different every time.
So
And
humans
it's
are
never
now
been to
all over the
Gallifrey.
galaxy.
It's never been to Gallifrey before. So here's the question: Is the master? The master has to be in control of this thing, right? So if the master's in control of the boundary, is he just popping it off to some places where all these humans that go through are going to die?
He would.
Yes, he would.
He would.
Yes, he would. Or did he only take control of it when the doctor was near?
Maybe he did something so that whenever the doctor did come near, it would set it to this and stick to it.
I bet that took a lot of calculations.
It's the master. He would take the time to do that.
I'm sure.
To get revenge on the doctor, he would take the time to do that.
I'm sure he would.
The shrink ray.
That's yeah. I mean that comes about in episode 10. I mean
That was
he
amazing.
doesn't use it until episode 10.
Yeah, that was amazing. Bringing the shrink ray in.
Oh,
Did he have a shrink ray in a classic episode?
Yes, he did.
I thought he did.
He shrunk someone, stuck him in a lunchbox, and then
Yes, that's right. That was the third Doctor.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
third Doctor
I'm lost.
episode. It was
Yeah.
a third, first or second episode with the Master in it, and he shrunk someone, stuck him in a lunchbox to hide their body.
Yeah, he shrunk several people in that episode.
Yeah.
Good memory. Okay, so episode 10. My first note is just a little nitpick. Okay, so actors, I've noticed when they want to do, not all actors. Sometimes when actors do an intense close-up scene, right, and they're looking somebody in the eye, right, what they do is they'll go back and forth between the eyes of the person, right? So if I'm staring at Priscilla and I get intense, you gotta look me straight on.
I can't.
You gotta look me straight on, right? Instead of looking at one eye,
I'm doing it.
right? Instead of unflinchingly looking at one eye, they'll go back and forth, and it makes them appear weak. It doesn't convey the
It makes
feeling.
it look like they're thinking a bit.
Well, it doesn't convey the intensity
Yeah, it
that I think
doesn't make 'em
the
seem
scene
intense.
is calling for.
When
Yeah.
was
So-
this?
Okay, that was right. So when the doctor is talking to the master, and he's like, "Oh, I killed all the Time Lords," and she's like, she said, "Did it cure all the rage or something like that?"
And she looks at.
Right? She's
I
like,
can remember her eyes doing that, and I'm
yeah.
going.
She's like,
Are
"Did
you-
it cure all the rage?"
Oh, I remember that now.
And
Right.
I'm like, are you scanning his face? What are you doing?
Right, exactly. It distracts actors. Please, if you're watching,
Which you're probably not.
don't go from eye to eye. Okay, just stare at one eye. It's called unflinching gaze, and it exudes an air of confidence / intensity that these types of scenes call for. Okay.
Did you look up an article for that?
No, I've noticed this for a long time. Now, part of it might be because, for me, I only have one good eye, right? So I don't look at, and it might be, I can't say. If people with two good eyes, it might be natural for them to kind of go back and forth. I don't know.
I
For
can
me-
sort of do it sometimes, but it's really hard.
I can't look people in the eyes
Yeah,
anyway.
We have to learn to look people in the eyes first.
Yeah, but see, for me, I have only one good eye, so it might be more natural for me just to
Stare at one eye.
stare at one eye. I can remember a story when I was a kid, as a teenager, and there was a younger girl telling me a story that happened in school or something. She was, I don't know, 4 or 5 years younger than me or something, and so she was telling me the story. So I was looking at her in the eye, listening to the story because you're making eye contact.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
And so halfway through the story, she's like, "Stop staring at me! I feel like you're gonna kill me." And I'm like, "I'm just." She felt intimidated by the eye contact. the unflinching eye contact actors. And I'm like, sorry, I was just listening to your story. So it can be quite intense, I guess. But so the master says this is going to hurt, right? She's trapped in her paralyzation field. He's going to force her into the matrix. He says this is going to hurt, and her acting style is. I mean,
It looks like she's gonna fall
Yeah,
asleep.
she looks like she's...
yeah.
I was thinking, what if the paralyzation field can have this effect, which makes people like exhausted, like
I don't know.
just like,
But
just,
I
like,
thought that
nodding
was
off to sleep.
poor acting. Like I'm not a real fan of Jodie Whittaker as the
blinked.
Doctor.
A long time, I thought she's fallen asleep.
I'm not
Yeah.
a big fan of Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor. Not because she's a woman, just because I don't think she's done very good acting as the Doctor. And I will say I'll give her the benefit of the doubt because almost every Doctor or actor who's taken on that role takes a while, takes a couple of seasons to break it in to get used to it. So I mean I am not
Doctor didn't.
I'm not one of those who's like, get rid of her. I'm saying let's give her a chance, but Jodie, step it up. You say the Ninth Doctor didn't take a while to get into
Well,
it?
he only had one season.
He only had
Yeah,
one
we
season.
had
He
one
was
season.
good. I wonder what he would have been like after 2 or 3 seasons. Would he have been even better?
What do you... I don't know.
I don't know. That's interesting.
Yeah. We would have had
Okay.
much more Fantastics.
So, okay, who's this timeless child? What race is the timeless child?
Well, later when we find out it's Doctor, I had this theory, and it's been driving me nuts. For the best
Finally!
Finally, yes. Okay, so what if there were more, and they know about this boundary and can go back and forth, but the Doctor, being a child, got lost, like typical children do, and before they could find her again...
Tecteun got her?
Yeah. And so, like,
okay,
they
but-
have this missing child, but they don't know what happens. If one of them found the Doctor... I'm like, that would be cool. Like, she's interacting with the species that she is, but she doesn't know.
Well,
Also,
And
well, hold on.
that would be
I would
cool.
think that they would go looking for
Yeah,
the child.
they probably did and couldn't find her.
Well,
Maybe.
Gallifrey is an out-of-the-way planet. And
Yeah,
besides,
it
she's
is.
actually traveling around a bunch during
Yeah,
this
she
time.
was traveling a lot during that time.
that's true.
And then went to this out-of-the-way planet.
Okay, okay.
Also, I tried to draw a picture. You might just have to picture there.
Yeah, I drew a picture of it too.
I tried to draw a picture
Oh,
of
okay.
the boundary, and there's
a tiny
a
little person.
cave thing. There's the boundary up here, and there's the cave thing, and I was wondering what's through the cave thing.
The cave thing, I'll have to put a picture of there.
Yes.
So,
Point out the
I
cave
don't think it
thing.
was a cave. I think it was just a round. We'll have to put a picture up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a architectural feature.
Yeah. So I mean,
Just curious.
the
It
master
was
called it a
very-
monument. Clearly, somebody built the monument.
Yeah. It's
Did the-
possible it could have been the other species in an attempt
Right.
to go back.
Right. Did the other species create the monument? Did someone find the boundary and build this monument to it, not knowing what it was? I mean, yeah, there's all sorts of interesting stories.
I like how
questions that are gonna
the
need to be asked.
master knows the indigenous species name for the Time Lord.
I'm sure it's in the history.
Shibogans.
Thank you, Shibogans.
Shibogans.
Phil and I both wrote it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm sure that we're gonna have more to do with that race, right?
Yeah.
That's gonna be more part of the story
Yeah.
later on,
What
which
if
is
the
good. I
TARDIS
find
can't
that
translate
interesting.
it then?
Ooh, that'd be really interesting.
Because it's a database of all known languages.
Right,
I mean, you can't translate the devil language.
right.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. Yep.
So it's possible that they wouldn't be able to understand the race, so they'd be having to learn the language pretty much. Well, the TARDIS would have to be learning the language as they go.
How
Mm-hmm.
fun.
Yeah, have fun.
How did the humans who were inside the Cybermen suit
The
fire the weapons?
good question, because they're disconnected from the suits.
Yeah, well,
Is there a
she ju-
trigger?
She said
She disconnected it from the
from the
like hive mind.
right.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, the
Something.
cyber
Collective.
mind thing. Yeah.
Collective.
Collective
Board.
database.
Right. So there's no there's no human parts except for the living humans inside the suit, and the suit is disconnected from the. So how did they fire the weapon? Yeah.
Whenever he opens the door and this half Cyberman is like staring down the suit trying to get it, he like twitches his nose.
Oh yeah.
And we're like, what are you doing?
Oh,
Why are you
the lone
sniffing?
Cyberman? Yeah, I think it was smelling. I mean,
Yeah.
because humans have an odor. You know.
Humans stink.
Yes, we do. Okay, the Master kills the lone Cyberman. All right? This bothered me.
Yeah.
You've
Also-
spent 2.5 episodes building up this guy as the worst threat possible.
And then, bloop,
Yeah,
He's
okay?
dead.
It's like Kylo Ren killing Snoke, all right? It's like, that was just... Why
It's
did we even do that?
anticlimactic.
At least we knew
Yes.
more about Shad.
True,
Yeah.
we did know more about Ashad than Snoke. Snoke, I mean, you know, he was revealed later in episode 9, you know, but still, it's like, man, you could have had some really good storylines with this guy. The Doctor fighting him and stuff, and you know, learning about his past and stuff. It could have been a lot of good material on that, and we just shrink
I like
Ray.
how right after
He
that,
He said he was hoping for the death particle to
activate.
Yeah, the
activate.
Master.
Doesn't he want to escape? Does he care at all?
I think, okay, see, that's a good point. I think that the Master, okay, and if you watch when the Cybermasters come out, right? He's got,
With the ridiculous
turned-
headgear.
yeah, he turns around and the look on his face is almost sad.
I didn't see that.
It's a happy, sad look. So, I think the Master is tormented.
Yeah.
And so he's like, yeah, I wouldn't have it wouldn't have bothered me if it was finally all over right now. Right?
What?
And then the Cybermasters come out and he's like,
the
and it's-
writers aren't gonna let him die.
Yeah.
yeah, apparently.
Well,
yeah,
I was
so
thinking-
he should have been the Timeless Child.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
if there? I was thinking there were two because the title of this episode was
Timeless Children?
Children.
Yeah.
I think,
Plural.
I hear you, but I think
So,
that might refer to the
multiple.
Gallifreyans.
Yeah, I'm
How
Okay.
they then became,
sure it's still kind of misleading.
gained the ability to regenerate.
Still kind of
What?
misleading.
No. What if it? What if the
I have a
master was
question.
also one of the ancient race? So it's still a battle between these two, this one species.
I have a crazy theory.
Okay,
Oh,
let's
boy.
hear it. Let's hear it.
Tectayun spliced herself with the DNA, right?
Yes.
Caused her to regenerate.
Yes.
And then later spliced formulated it, limited it to 12.
So Tectayun accidentally.
So Tectayun didn't have the limit of 12 regenerations.
Yeah.
Like
And
she could've-
therefore, the Master is Tectayun.
That would be cool.
Yeah. Okay, but still, well, she could have. It could have been added later.
I don't know how you. I mean, that's possible, but you know, what if she didn't? So
Good point.
yeah. So the Tectayun could have. Don't lick me.
But you taste good.
Tectayun
She's thinking.
could have spliced herself so that she has unlimited regenerations as well, and therefore she is the Master.
But her memories got erased as well. Perhaps.
Maybe, or he knows it. And hides it. I don't know.
Well, they both got raised. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
So what if they didn't want these two, like immortals, I guess, to realize it? So they
That's why they
forced them
erased the
to
memory.
Yeah, erase their memory, force them to regenerate into a child.
Okay, one thing we haven't
How can
talked
they
about.
do that?
Okay, that's a good question. Do you remember the second Doctor's regeneration?
Yeah.
When he regenerated
he
into the
got
third?
forced to get
He was
regenerated.
forced to regenerate. We know the Time Lords can do this.
Yes.
And when he was regenerating, they showed him several images, right? Which
what
one
he
do you
could
want to
look
be
like.
like?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So he could choose. And I don't remember if he chose or...
He did
He
not like
didn't.
any of them.
yeah, they chose for
refused.
him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well,
we
I
know
think-
that they have that ability.
I think Romana chooses who she wants to be when she regenerates.
Yeah, Romana, we haven't seen those episodes yet. But, yeah, Romana... and that's kind of
I don't think Bethany knew that.
That's kind of an...
I did not know that. Thank you very much for spoiling that.
That's kind of an anomaly in the story, too, because I think she goes through several regenerations by choice. as to what she wants to look like. We'll see those episodes
Okay.
semi soon. I mean, we're watching.
We're watching the classics right now.
We're rewatching the
Quite
classics,
fun, actually.
and we are in the Fourth Doctor, and Romana has made an appearance. Don't knock over my drink, Max.
Like that every other time.
One thing, the Master, they're like talking. He goes, assassinating presidents.
Yeah, that's a
That's
throwback.
He says he's gonna have a torture room in
Yeah,
the
he said he was going to have a
dungeon
torture room in the cellar and a screamer room over there.
or something.
Screening room, I think, like movies.
Oh well.
Okay.
Oh, torture room though.
Okay, so when the Doctor is in the Matrix, and we're seeing this is where we get introduced to the Division.
Yes. She had like weird makeup, like purple.
Yes, well,
Right.
she's Time Lord. That's how they dressed. So you remember back to Brendan and his Pat and his and the guy who was interviewing Brendan. These same people, the Doctor and Tecteun and the woman in the Division, are sitting in the exact same places
Yes.
on that flashback.
Yes.
So that interview with the Garda Shishana, the Garda.
Officer commented that he was impressed with Brendan's application.
Mm-hmm.
And in that thing, she's going, no one has ever gotten scores these high before.
Yeah, exactly. She says there were tests, right?
No.
Yeah, she says they were tests, and that no one. Where did I put that? No.
The results they've ever seen.
Oh, yeah, there. Thank you. Yeah. Read my notes.
Right there.
Yeah, the simulation that we see with Brendan is not a simulation. Obviously, it was, as we've discovered in this episode, it was kind of a covered-up memory. It's part of a test, and she said the results were the best they'd ever seen.
Oh, no
Yeah,
humans
what
on
is-
Gallifrey.
Yeah, no human link except for Leela.
Yeah, except Layla.
Although, who is she to enforce the no humans on Gallifrey rule? She's the one that brings humans the most.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how does the Master kill all the Time Lords,
Oh, that is
and
a
why
good
didn't they
question.
regenerate?
That's a good...
Kill them enough times.
Well, okay, but then how do they regenerate in the cyber suits?
Yeah.
Well, now here's my question: did the
If-
Master talked about experimenting? So did he experiment with?
I'm sure that is still in their DNA. Hey, I mean, a Time Lord's body is a powerful thing. That's why they gotta burn the doctors.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Also,
why Master
I
was
noticed-
cremated before he came back. And the Dr. Robot was cremated.
Also,
Right.
it said they give it to the Citadel dwellers, but I'm sure there were
Other
other
the
Shibogans out there. So, what happened to them? And like, can they? Why can't? Can
Yeah.
only the Citadel dwellers regenerate, or did they give it to the whole planet?
No, just the
Just the Citadel.
Citadel dwellers.
So
Why?
did that
Do
speak?
you remember
So did
when?
the Shibogans become extinct?
Do you remember when?
Probably.
Well, I don't know, but do you remember when Leela?
Met the Time Lord.
She was on Gallifrey, and then she had to leave the Citadel. You remember
Yeah.
that? She met those
Yeah, but
people living out
But they
there.
could
But they
regenerate. They were Time Lords.
well, they
Right.
say they were Time Lords. We never actually see anyone regenerate in that episode. A lot of people die in that episode because none of them regenerate.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, I think if I remember correctly,
Maybe
they said that they
Stasers.
were Time Lords who left the Citadel.
Yeah, that's what they
Um,
said.
Yes,
so
that's what
maybe
they said.
maybe they kind of united with the Sheboygan.
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 Sheboygan is like a town in Michigan or something.
Sheboygan, Dad.
Sheboygan. Anyway,
And then, like, I don't know.
yeah, and
I'll
kind
get
of
my thoughts.
kind of came some sort of half breed or something.
Yeah,
Or maybe it spread through the population through them or something.
that'd be interesting. So then there are Time Lord Citadels and Time Lord non-Citadels. That'd
Yep.
be cool.
Are there any other
And so then
big cities besides the Citadel?
there's a farmhouse. There's a
Right.
random farmhouse somewhere.
That's where the Doctor grew up.
Yeah.
There's just
The last time.
Yeah. So, the Citadel. So Gallifrey has forests and grasslands and mountains, so they build it in the middle of a desert. Like, really? Really? A desert?
Okay, I think we're coming to the close to the end, folks.
Yep.
Oh, one thing. The
Really? I still have a bunch of
Cybermen.
notes.
The Cybermen are really bad shots. I mean, that's a trope.
Yeah.
The last thing that I wanted to say is, okay, the Doctor is willing to sacrifice. She would do it in a heartbeat for her friends and for the universe, but she doesn't do it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, she can't bring herself to destroy evil for the sake of the universe. She condemns the entire universe to the rule of the Master because of what? Her morality? Because she doesn't want to be like the Master? I mean, we know that the Doctor has been in war before, has killed before. I've seen this in shows. You all probably haven't because you're too young, but I've seen this in shows throughout my life. This is a trope that Hollywood uses where, I can't do it, and then somebody comes in and saves the day. Okay, you can't do it, I'll do it. And they're the ones who save the day. But we get to save the look, save face for our hero, where they don't have to be the bad guys to, kill the other bad guys. It's like, I just, I don't know. I think it's lazy writing. I think it's poor writing. The writer could have tried to do something original and, made it compelling, but no, we have to go back to things that have been done 1,000 times and do it again. So that bothered me. Okay, yeah, and they sure did let Coach Sharmas take a long time to carry out his plan, right? He and the Doctor had this real extended conversation, and the Master and the Cybermaster are sitting there looking at him.
What you doing, huh?
Yeah.
They're tugging on the thing.
what's
I'm like,
happening
one
over
of you
there?
is going to hit that button by accident.
Yeah. What's happening over there? Can we kill him? Should we kill him?
Nah, now we're just plot convenience. No, we
The
can't kill him.
Master looked disgusted when the Doctor didn't press the button.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Right at the end, go ahead.
Well, yeah, I was talking about right at the end.
Right at the end, when he does push the button, then you can hear the Master say, if you listen real close, you can hear him say, all of you through here now. So it does seem like he escapes from the destruction. So we'll be seeing him again. And I think that, do you have something?
The last thing that bothers me is the Jadoon, because they teleport into the TARDIS.
Yeah, how did they get into the TARDIS?
You cannot
teleport
You
into
can't
the
break
TARDIS.
into the TARDIS. The only way you can get into the TARDIS is with permission or
Yeah.
a key.
Or if there's those particles that Donna had in her.
Yeah.
Or those.
I don't think the Jadoon
Those.
put those in themselves.
No, probably not. So I think, honestly, this is the last time that we're going to see these companions. I don't think the Doctor's going to go pick them up. I think she'll get different companions.
They have a TARDIS. Oh, it shouldn't be too hard to learn how to fly, should it?
I
mean, learn
they've done it before.
Learn Gallifreyan
Find the milk button.
0. Learn Gallifreyan with 0 experience. And, I'm bet.
Talk to the TARDIS. This TARDIS doesn't know you, so it'd be like, excuse me?
Yeah, it'd be like,
Can you translate this Gallifreyan, please?
Who are you? You're a human.
Romana
You're
was
human,
reading
you're
the
not flying.
handbook. There's a handbook.
yeah, there's a handbook.
Somewhere
Which
in
the
TARDIS.
Doctor threw into a black hole at one point.
No, he threw
I
it
think.
into a supernova.
Supernova. It's
Hmm.
probably safer.
What's the difference?
I mean,
Um,
what is
Something.
Yeah, okay, so what's going to happen? My theory with the Jadoon, it said, what did it say? It said a lifetime sentence.
lifetime Doctor Fugitive lifetime sentence,
Maximum security prison.
maximum security with a window though.
With a window.
Window.
In
I was
space.
just wondering what did
Open
she
to
do
space.
to do this to deserve this?
Well,
Yeah.
certainly.
I think
that's
Ruth
gonna
was
be,
running away maybe because she knew she was the timeless child. Like she maybe found out. And so she was trying to get away or something. This is like a half thought of.
Yeah, Ruth was definitely running away from the Time Lords. We knew know that from previous episodes that we have not talked about here. So,
Yeah.
okay. So my theory about how she's going to escape is that she's going to have to regenerate, and then you know, that
Lifetime
lifetime's
sentence over.
Yeah, that lifetime sentence is over. You got to release me.
That's cheating.
Yeah, that's cheating.
But you know, I could be completely wrong. So, but that's my theory as
That's
to
a
what's going to happen.
technicality.
What if the timeless race, I'm gonna call them that now, Doctor's timeless race. What if they came?
And broke her out.
Yeah. What if they find her, break her out, and try and take her back to their home?
That alternate dimension, are they just a bunch of immortals, or
Yeah, so
is
in
that alternate dimension a lot harder to live in?
I don't know.
maybe a lot harder to live in. What if they're like,
Also, I saw that the child regenerated many times while it was still a child.
yeah.
So how reckless of a life does that child lead?
Oh, I
I
think
think-
that she.
I think Tech Dayun was like forcing the child to regenerate,
Yeah, that's what I got.
to experiment, to
Yes, in order to conduct her experiments. The master. I mean, Tecteon.
I don't like that theory of yours.
Ooh. Bet it's a good one.
nah.
So.
And
is
so,
that,
like,
I
The
think
doctor's
that's,
like not trusting them because of probably past experiences with Time Lords, because she might assume they're like them. I have a feeling
who's
she
the,
would.
Oh, them?
the
You mean
Timeless.
the timeless race?
Yeah, I'm calling them the Timeless now.
Okay. The timeless.
Yeah, the Timeless.
The silence and the timeless.
Don't get them confused. And like, they're like, why don't you trust us? And they're like trying to help her
What if they kicked her out of the...
because she's annoying and.
Probably not because she's annoying, but, you know.
She's very good at annoying people.
Yes, she
What
is.
if she's the
She
only...
annoys a Cyberman and a Dalek into trying to kill her.
What if she's
As
the,
her.
What if
Not
it's
hard.
not her race that can regenerate? What if it's just her, and that's why they kicked her out? They're like, that's unnatural.
How did she evolve that?
Yeah.
How do we evolve anything?
It's quite a mutation she's
Yeah, that's
got.
quite a mutation. What if?
Anyway, do we have anything else? I think
Can you imagine if
I
the
don't know.
time was
We'll
they
think
had
of something
different
when we
colors of
stop
regeneration energy? That would be cool. Like this one.
say that again.
What if like the timeless they had like different colors of regeneration energy? That'd be cool. Like this one regenerated with the purple energy.
Or blue? Yeah, that'd
That'd be cool.
that'd be
Like
interesting.
TARDIS blue.
Or white, like.
And then the reason the Time Lords are all orange because the Doctor's orange.
Right. Ah, that's a good theory. Good idea.
That would be cool.
That would be cool.
So like, how would they identify? How do you think they'd identify others of their race? Because for some reason, Time Lords can identify other Time Lords on sight.
I don't know. Okay, well, we need to wrap this up because,
Before we
we could go on all night.
We
so
could.
we could.
Please, if you have comments, we'd love to hear them. Put them down below. If you haven't subscribed, we'd love to have you subscribe. Like our video. If you didn't like the video,
Don't watch it.
No,
if you didn't enjoy the video,
just don't watch
don't
it.
watch it. Go back in time and don't watch it.
Go back
Common
in
sense.
time and warn your younger self not to watch it and get lost before the paradox monsters come.
Yeah, there you go.
Just common sense, that is.
I guess that's it. Like, subscribe. Oh, ring the bell.
Our
That helps our channel. Here's our
Hi,
dog.
Max.
No, turn around. You got to see the camera.
Why would I do that?
There's our dog again. One more time.
Yeah.
Thank
Lick
you.
the mic, Max.
Thank you, Max.
Lick the microphone,
you.
Max.
There we go. All right. Goodbye.
Bye.
Till next time.
Bye.
Thank you.
Episode 10.
That's going in an outtake.